Hello internet, it's me again. So today I thought I'd share my reading challenge for 2021. I've chosen 12 books that I want to sit down and read by the end of this year. I started a reading challenge last year, but unfortunately didn't manage to read all of the books that I wanted to, so I thought this year I'd make a list of those 12, and then anything else I read on top of is a bonus. Reading is something I love to do. I'm just not really sure at the moment how I want to do that. I've kind of mixed and played about with reading physical books, reading Kindle books, and reading Audible, listening to Audible at work. Audible seems to work best on my lunch breaks, but is really dependent on me doing absolutely nothing else. So I thought that I would try and read all of these ones physically, and we will see how it goes. So without further ado, I've added them all to a Goodreads list, so I will share that down below too. But essentially what I want to do is just go through that. So this is in no particular order, this is just in the order that I've added them and I've found them on my to read list. Number one is The Bridge. The Bridge is one of those books that I just think came out at the wrong time last year. It's by Bill Konigsberg, and when I say it came out at the wrong time, I mean it came out at the wrong time for me. And let me read the synopses of these. So, two teenagers, strangers to each other, have decided to jump from the same bridge at the same time. But what results is far from straightforward in this absorbing, honest lifesaver from acclaimed author Bill Konigsberg. Aaron and Tilly don't know each other, but they are both feeling suicidal and arrive at the George Washington Bridge at the same time, intending to jump. Aaron is a gay misfit struggling with depression and loneliness. Tilly isn't sure what her problem is, only that she will never be good enough. On the bridge there are 4 things that could happen. Aaron jumps and Tilly doesn't. Tilly jumps and Aaron doesn't. They both jump and neither of them jumps. Or maybe all 4 things happen in this astonishing and insightful novel from Bill Konigsberg. Bill is one of my favourite authors. He's the reason I think that I got back into reading again. His books Openly Straight and Honestly Ben are superb, and recently The Music of What Happens. This is very different in tone to all of those, I feel. But I need to give it another shot. The second is Darius the Great is Not Okay. This, I believe, is the first in a series. It's written by Adib Khorram. I really apologise if I said that wrong. Darius doesn't think he'll ever be enough in America or in Iran. Darius Kellner speaks better Klingon than Farsi, and he knows more about Hobbit social cues than Persian ones. He's about to take his first ever trip to Iran, and it's pretty overwhelming, especially when he's also dealing with clinical depression, a disapproving dad, and a chronically anemic social life. In Iran, he gets to know his ailing but still formidable grandfather, his loving grandmother, and the rest of his mum's family for the first time. And he meets Sorab, the boy next door who changes everything. Sorab makes sure people speak English so Darius can understand what's going on. He gets Darius an Iranian national football team jersey that makes him feel like a true Persian for the first time, and he understands that sometimes best friends don't have to talk. Darius has never had a true friend before, but now he's spending his days with Sorab playing soccer, eating rosewater ice cream, and sitting together for hours in their special place, a rooftop overlooking the Yazdi skyline. Sorab calls him Darius, the original Persian version of his name, and Darius has never felt more himself than he does now that he's Darius to Sorab. When it's time to go home to America, he'll have to find a way to be Darius on his own. It sounds heartwarming, it doesn't sound entirely like just a love story, and I'm just really excited to be reading stories that are a little bit different and expanding my horizons, even if it's just ever so slightly. Next up we have Heartbreak Boys, and Heartbreak Boys came out last year. It's by Simon James Green, and it sounds like a beautifully wonderful summer novel, and I just can't wait to read it, in all honesty. I meant to read it last year, but for some reason I just never ended up. I even downloaded it and everything. I've just not sat down and actually read it. Faking the best summer ever is a lot harder than it looks. At the start of summer, Jack and Nate find themselves dumped as their respective exes, Dylan and Tarek, start up a new relationship together. Not only that, their exes start posting pics on social media, showing the whole world how fabulous their new life together is. Jack and Nate are reeling. Not to be outdone, they decide to create their own, even better time. But between the depressing motorway service station motels, damp campsites, and an ultimate showdown with the exes, something epic really is happening. Jack and Nate are learning to get over their heartache and open themselves up to new possibilities for love. A hilarious story for heartbreaks and hijinks from award-winning author Simon James Green. So I'm hoping that it's a really summery, really cute YA novel that isn't going to be too taxing, and it might be something to read after the bridge. Next we have Camp by Lev A.C. Rosen, which just says Elsie Rosen on the cover, so I might just go with that. This also sounds really similar, and I loved that it was like, I'm calling out toxic masculinity. That really appealed to me. So, from the authors of the acclaimed Jack of Hearts and Other Parts comes a sweet and sharp screwball comedy that critiques the culture of toxic masculinity within the queer community. 16-year-old Randy Kappelhoff loves spending the summer at Camp Outland, a camp for queer teens. It's where he met his best friends, it's where he takes to the stage in the big musical, and it's where he fell for Hudson Aronson Lim, who's only into straight acting guys and barely knows not at all straight acting Randy even exists. This year though, it's going to be different. Randy has reinvented himself as Del, buff, masculine and on the market. Even if it means giving up show tunes, nail polish and his unicorn bedsheets, he's determined to get Hudson to fall for him. But as he and Hudson grow closer, Randy has to ask himself, how much is he willing to change for love? And is it really love anyway if Hudson doesn't know who he truly is? This sounds like all kinds of you're gonna learn things, mate. And I cannot wait. Again, it's one that I saw last year, probably meant to download, kind of hit a reading slump in the autumn. I Wish You All the Best by Mason Diva. So this is an author who I believe is non-binary, and it's kind of been my personal objective to read a few books this year from non-binary authors or about non-binary characters. I think this could be really interesting, and as it's the first full year that I'm out as non-binary myself, I thought it would be nice to read a non-binary perspective. When Ben DeBacker comes out to their parents as non-binary, they're thrown out of their house and forced to move in with their estranged older sister Hannah and her husband Thomas, whom Ben has never even met. Struggling with an anxiety disorder compounded by their parents' rejection, they come out only to Hannah, Thomas and their therapist and try to keep a low profile in a new school. But Ben's attempts to survive the last half of senior year unnoticed are thwarted when Nathan Allen, a funny and charismatic student, decides to take Ben under his wing. As Ben and Nathan's friendship grows, their feelings for each other begin to change, and what started as a disastrous turn of events looks like it might just be a chance to start a happier new life. At turns heartbreaking and joyous, I Wish You All the Best is both a celebration of life, friendship and love, and a shining example in the face of adversity. It just sounds so good, and honestly I'm just so excited for this. It sounds heartbreaking and dramatic and teary, but also like it's gonna have a happy ending. The Ghosts We Keep. So this is the second novel by Mason Deaver, and again I believe it's about a non-binary character, but I could be wrong. I could be wrong on this one. So perfect for fans of Adam Silvera and Becky Albertelli, who couldn't be more different in my opinion, but there we go. This book will rip your heart out before showing you how to heal from tragedy and celebrate life in the process. When Liam Cooper's older brother Ethan is killed in a hit and run, Liam has not only to learn to face the world without one of the people he loved the most, but also face the fading relationship with his two best friends. Yikes. Feeling more alone and isolated than ever, Liam finds themselves sharing time with Marcus, Ethan's best friend, and through Marcus, Liam finds the one person who seems to know exactly what they're going through, for the better and the worse. This book is about grief, but it's also about how we live, why we have to keep moving on, and why we should. Having dealt with grief in the past, this is going to be an interesting book, and having read other books about grief, I'm really excited to see how this stacks up. Particularly the only other book I've read was by Adam Silvera and was the History Is All You Left of Me, which is such a heartbreaking book, but it's really, really good. I would thoroughly recommend it. What I love about that book is it isn't an instant replacement, and it still deals with the grief among other things, and it's just a beautiful story, and you just kind of realise how unreliable the narrator is throughout the whole thing, which is also an added boon. So this does sound interesting. I'll let you know. One Last Stop by Casey McQuiston. Words cannot describe how I feel about Casey McQuiston. I have read and reread Red, White and Royal Blue, and oh my gosh, it's probably one of my favourite books in the entire world. I'm not sure how you would even begin to beat that. From reviews and arcs that I've seen people getting, those lucky people, One Last Stop sounds enthralling and captivating, and what I love about Casey McQuiston is they have such an amazing writing style, and it's just one of the most heartwarming books I have read. I really wish 2020 had been the year in that book. I reread it last year because I loved it so much. This one's called One Last Stop and just looks different but good. So, from the New York Times best-selling author of Red, White and Royal Blue comes a new romantic comedy that puts a queer spin on Kate and Leopold. A 23-year-old realises her subway crush is displaced from 1970s Brooklyn, and she must do everything in her power to help her and try not to fall in love with the girl lost in time before it's too late. Need I say more, really? It just sounds mysterious and enthralling, and I'm really not sure this one's going to have a happy ending, but I'm looking forward to it anyway. What I love about Casey McQuiston is that they frequently, there's nothing new, I don't think, plot-wise about Red, White and Royal Blue, but it's the way it's written and the way it's recounted and just how much energy she puts into developing her characters, and I can really see that book as a movie, and I really hope at some point it becomes one, and I could rant and rave about that book till the cows come home. Cemetery Boys by Aidan Thomas. So this is a book I downloaded on Audible. I listened to the preview and I really enjoyed what I heard, so this may be my next Audible read. It sounds pretty cool. A trans boy determined to prove his gender to his traditional Latinx? How do you say that? Latinx? Let's go with Latinx. Family summons a ghost who refuses to leave in Aidan Thomas's paranormal YA debut Cemetery Boys. Described by Entertainment Weekly as groundbreaking, Yadriel has summoned a ghost and now he can't get rid of him. When his traditional Latinx family has problems accepting his true gender, Yadriel becomes determined to prove himself a real Brujo. With the help of his cousin and best friend Maritza, he performs the ritual himself and then sets out to find the ghost of his murdered cousin and set it free. However, the ghost he summons is actually Julian Diaz, the school's resident bad boy, and Julian is not about to go quietly into death. He's determined to find out what happened and tie off some loose ends before he leaves. Left with no choice, Yadriel agrees to help Julian so that they can both get what they want. But the longer Yadriel spends time with Julian, the less he wants to let him leave. Could be interesting. Could be heartbreaking. I'm reading that and thinking, oh my god, that sounds truly heartbreaking. What am I doing? Here the Whole Time by Vita Martins. I really apologise if I'm butchering some of these names. The charm and humour of To All the Boys I've Loved Before meets Dumplin in this body-positive YA love story between two boys who must spend 15 days living with each other over school break. What would you do if you had to spend the next 15 days with your lifelong crush? Philippe gets it. He's fat. Not chubby, not big-boned, fat. And he doesn't need anyone to remind him. Which is, of course, what everyone does. That's why he's been waiting for this moment ever since the school year began. School break. Finally, he'll be able to spend some time far away from school and the classmates who tease him incessantly. His plans include catching up on his favourite TV shows, finishing his to-be-read pile, and watching YouTube tutorials on skills he'll never actually put into practice. But things get a little out of hand when Philippe's mum informs him that Ko, the neighbour kid from apartment 57, will be spending the next 15 days with them while his parents are on vacation. Felipe is distraught because A, he's had a crush on Ko since, well, forever, and B, Felipe has a list of body image insecurities and absolutely no idea how he's going to entertain his neighbour for 2 full weeks. Suddenly, the days ahead of him that once promised rest and relaxation, not to mention some epic Netflix binging, end up bringing a whirlwind of feelings, forcing Felipe to dive headfirst into every unresolved issue he has ever had with himself. But maybe, just maybe, he'll manage to win Ko over too. Which I think is a pretty safe bet, but that sounds really interesting and really like it's gonna deal with a lot of issues, and these all just sound, the more I read them, the more I'm like, oh my god, I can't wait to read that. How It All Blew Up, this one sounds interesting too. Arvin Armadi is the author of this one. Again, apologies to the name. Simon versus the Homo sapien agenda goes to Italy in Arvin Armadi's newest incisive look at identity and what it means to find yourself by running away. 18-year-old Amir Azadi always knew coming out to his Muslim family would be messy. He just didn't think it would end in an airport interrogation room. But when faced with a failed relationship, bullies and blackmail, running away to Rome is his only option, right? Soon, late nights with new friends and dates in the Sistine Chapel, I can't even speak, start to feel like second nature, until his old life comes knocking on his door. Now Amir has to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth to a US customs officer, or risk losing his hard-won freedom. At turns uplifting and devastating, How It All Blew Up is Arvin Armadi's most powerful novel yet, a celebration of how life's most painful moments can live alongside the riotous, life-changing joys of discovering who you are. Sounds beautiful. Chef's kiss. In Their Shoes, Navigating Non-Binary Life is a book that Chris, my friend, got me for Christmas, and it's one of the books that I am currently reading at the moment. Again, I'll link my Goodreads profile down below so everybody can see that. I'm about a couple of chapters in, so it's going in there. Also, it's non-fiction, which is unusual for me. I don't read all that much non-fiction, but there's a couple books on my horizon that I would really like to read that are non-fiction, so I feel like this is a great place to start with a non-binary author explaining their non-binary identity, and it just sounds great, okay? So there is no one way to be non-binary, and that's truly one of the best things about it. It's an identity that is yours to shape. Combining light-hearted anecdotes with their own hard-won wisdom, Jamie Windust explores everything from fashion, dating, relationships and family, through to mental health, work and future key debates. From trying on clothes in secret to iconic looks, first dates to polyamorous liaisons, passports to pronouns, Jamie shows you how to navigate the world and your evolving identity in every type of situation. Frank, funny and brilliantly feisty, this must-read book is a call to arms for non-binary self-acceptance, self-appreciation and self-celebration. I love this because from what I've read already, I'm already seeing all of that stuff, and it's just nice to read someone who has come to terms with their non-binariness and be like, I'm writing this uplifting book for everyone, and it's just nice to get another opinion, because I haven't spoken to anybody else who's non-binary since I came out, and I just want to know what their experiences are, because that sounds incredible, and so far what I have read I've enjoyed. Infinity Reaper is the last and final entry on my 12 book list. This is the sequel, I believe, to Infinity Sun, which again, I think I've got about 2 hours left on Audible. So over the next couple of days, I'll be tapping into that one and reading that, finishing that off. So I'm not going to read out the thing because spoilers, but essentially Infinity Reaper? Yeah. Picks up where the first book leaves, and I don't know where that is yet. I'm probably, like I said, I've got a couple of hours left, so I'll probably say I'm about 75% through Infinity Sun, and it's already taken some interesting twists and turns, and what I love about it is it's very fantasy, but it's also grounded in the real world, and I really like that everything that is being discussed in this book is also happening in real life in a different set of circumstances. So it's almost like everything that is written as a guise, and I really admire Adam Silvera. I think he's really found himself in this genre, and yeah, I can't wait to read the second one, which I don't think comes out in that long, so I'm very excited that I get to read more of Emil and Brighton's adventures. So it sounds wonderfully epic. And again, what I like about it is it's really LGBT and representation positive, and we just need more books like this. We need more books that are quintessentially not just coming of age books. Like, they're really important, don't get me wrong, and I would never turn my nose up at that, because that's such an important part of realizing who you are, is realizing that you're not alone and that it's okay. And you know, how do you come to grips when maybe family members don't approve, or when people at school are mean to you, and it's just such a confusing and difficult time anyway, that having people in your life that are so toxic is so difficult to manage. So having books like that exist are really important, but I also think it's really important that we see characters of different sexualities just normalized in life. And what I like about this book is that while it mentions it, it's never the be-all and end-all of this character's existence. So more of this, please. So they are the 12 books I currently have on my to be read, well, not on my to be read, on my 2021 to read book list. I'm always open to suggestions. If you guys have books that you want me to read or you think I should read, then please do send them my way. I'm planning on, like I said, buying all of these books in physical form and showing them off on a bookcase somewhere, which I will at some point rejig. That will probably be a Monday job. We're in lockdown now, so I have very little else to do on my days off, so I think it'll just be nice to get the house back into some sort of array and clean and tidy and yeah. Anyway, I will see you tomorrow for another thrilling installment of Blue's Life. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, and ding the bell if you want to receive notifications every time I post a new video. Bye bye for now, guys.